I went back to my pacing. The rest of my waiting time I alternated between fantasizing about the things I would buy, and fantasizing about strangling Mr. Ambrose with a piece of washing line. In spite of these two very appealing scenarios, never had 1 minute and 43 seconds felt so long. When finally I heard the bell of St. Paul's Cathedral strike the hour, I was quicker at the door than a thirsting lion at a Sahara waterhole. Mr. Ambrose, sir, I demand that you. I was interrupted by the sound of the lock clicking. Slowly, the door swung open. In the doorframe stood Mr. Rickard Ambrose, his eyes as deep, cool and dark as I had ever seen them. Come in, Mr. Linton. Why, thank you, sir. If he noticed the sarcasm dripping from my voice, he did not comment on it. He led me into his office and closed the door. Then he turned to face me. Are you sure about this, Mr. Linton? About finally getting money out of you? Hell, yes. I mean, he said, the shards of ice in his voice clinking threateningly, about being my secretary. Ha, did you think your antics would scare me off? I snorted. Your scare tactics won't work. I noticed. You'll have to think of something better than that to get rid of me. Will I, now? He regarded me for a moment. I resisted the urge to blink. Blast him, his stare could make a dead marmot uncomfortable. I held out my hand. The money. He hesitated. You owe it to me. I've worked for it, and I want my money. His facial expression didn't change. Still, somehow he managed to look as if a tooth were being pulled from his brain while he forced himself to turn and walk over to his desk. Withdrawing a checkbook from one of the drawers, he sat down. Perhaps it was just my imagination, but I thought I could hear the sound of teeth grinding. The pen is there, right in front of you, sir. Go on. Throwing me an icy glare, he picked up the pen. The movement of his arm towards the check looked as if he had to pull against a 10-ton weight of reluctance. From Rickard Ambrose, he growled. 2. Mr. Victor Linton. Why not Lillian Linton? The next glare he threw me was dangerous. Be content I am doing this, Mr. Linton. Don't argue with me. On the whole, I decided it was better to keep quiet. At least I was getting my money. Mr. Ambrose dragged the pen across the paper. It seemed to take an eternity, but finally he was finished and ripped the offending check out of his checkbook. Sliding his hand across the table, he shoved it towards me. Here. Snatching the check from his hand, I held it up to my face and studied it closely. It was well I did. My eyes fell on the amount, and widened in outrage. This check says £1 and 2 shillings. Yes, and that's half of what you gave Mr. Stone. Certainly, after all, you are only half of what he is. He is real. You are only a pretender, or shall I say pretendress. My mouth dropped open. He can possibly be trying to. Yes, of course he could. This was Rickard Ambrose we were talking about. You're paying me less because I haven't got balls. Language, Mr. Linton. I'll use any language I bloody well want, thank you very much. And I've got just as much balls as any man in this office. His left little finger twitched again. You are mixing anatomy and metaphor, Mr. Linton. I don't bloody care. Marching forward, I placed both my hands, clenched into fists, on top of his desk and leaned forward until I was nose to nose with him. Being suddenly so close, I couldn't help notice the perfection of his chiseled features. And his eyes, they were so dark, so deep, deep enough to drown myself in. Stop this, get a grip. You're here to bang his head against the wall, not swoon over him, you blasted foolish female. His eyes were angry, but was wrath the only thing that burned in the dark depths? Or was there hunger, too? Stop it. Tell me right out, I hissed. Tell me that I haven't shown as much courage as any man in this building. Tell me that I deserve less, not because of what I am, but because of something you think I did wrong. Tell me that, and I'll accept half. Tell me. Silence, and more silence. Mr. Ambrose's jaw worked as if he were chewing gravel soused in castor oil. His little finger drummed a staccato presto on the desktop. You can't, can you? More silence. The finger tapping changed to a staccato prestissimo furioso. Write me another check, one for the full amount. Sluggishly, crawlingly, abominably slowly, as if he had to pull mountains with his elbows, Mr. Ambrose moved his arms forward and once more dipped the pen into the inkwell. A salamander in the middle of winter moved more quickly than the pen did over the check in front of him. 10. I watched him with burning intensity. Finally, crunching a little more gravel with his teeth, he severed the check from the checkbook and slid it across the table towards me. I pounced, but before my hand could grab the check, Mr. Ambrose's fist came down on one corner with a thud, holding the slip of paper in place. If you take this money, he told me, his dark eyes capturing mine, if you really wish to be my employee, fully and completely, you'll have to accept the consequences. You'll have to do whatever I say, go wherever I command. Do you understand? I didn't hesitate, but snatched the slip of paper from his underhand. Yes. Travel plans. Ding dong. The department store assistant looked up at the sound of the doorbell. Her usual bright I have things to sell smile wilted a little when she saw the shabby-looking young man who had entered the premises. Sir, may I help you? The unspoken words, with leaving this place right away, were clearly attached to the sentence. The shabby young man, i.e. me, didn't let herself be put off by that. Yes, I have some money with me, and I would like to spend it. The smile returned to the assistant's face in a flash. Really? Well, if that's the case, please follow me, sir. What would you like me to show you? Watches. I need a pocket watch. Nothing special, but it has to be reliable, and with a... Oh, what do you call this fancy new invention when a watch makes, ding-dong, at a certain time? Alarm. That's it, a pocket watch with an alarm. I need to be at work every day at 8 o'clock, punctually. My lips twitched, very, very, very punctually. I see, sir, please come with me. I think I have just what you need. Following the assistant, I could hardly believe what was happening. I was buying something, not just buying something, but buying it with my own money. I couldn't help a self-satisfied grin from forming on my face. Here, sir, what do you think of this model? Too flashy. And that one? That looks a bit too delicate. It has to withstand a lot of strain. Like what, for example, sir? I thought for a moment, memories flashing in front of my inner eye. Like a jump for a high wall, a fist fight, or a ride in a minecart. The shop assistant blinked at me, taken aback. What profession did you say again you worked in, sir? I'm a secretary, I told her proudly, to one of the city's leading financiers. I see. The financial world must be an interesting workplace. Indeed it is. How about this watch, sir? Sturdy, simple, and elegant. Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Snatching the item from the assistant, I let it snap open and shut. Walking to the nearest mirror, I put on a stony face, drew myself up to my full height, and let the watch snap open again. Knowledge is power, is time is money, Mr. Linton. Hurry up, Mr. Linton. Bring me file XX322YZ4, Mr. Linton. Right away, Mr. Linton. Seeing the shopkeeper stare at me, I cleared my throat and closed the watch again. I'll take it. Why yes, sir. And there's another thing, I added abruptly, glancing down at my clothes. I don't look particularly fashionable, do I? This time it was the assistant who cleared her throat very diplomatically. Not as such, sir. Well, can you show me something better than what I'm wearing? Something appropriate for the city, but tough. Certainly, please follow me, sir. Part of me was wondering why I was doing this, wondering why I didn't leave the shop but followed the assistant into the men's clothing department. I had never cared about how I looked, not one bit. Ah, said a tiny voice in my head, but that was when you would dress as a lady. A prim and proper lady only dresses well to impress men. But wasn't that still what I was doing? I remembered the contemptuous look on the faces of some passers-by and a few higher-ranking employees at Empire House. I wanted to wipe the sneers off their faces. I wanted to impress them. Yes, you do. Think about the reasons why, though. When a lady dresses well it screams, look at how pretty I am. I'm from a respectable family, so marry me, please. When a man dresses well, it says, look at me. I have money. I am strong and independent, so get out of my way, you bastards. A smile spread over my face. Yes, considered in that light, I had nothing at all against dressing well. Half an hour later, I was standing in front of the mirror, dressed in a sleek black tailcoat and hat. And that wasn't all. Grinning, I regarded the waistcoat I had fallen in love with at first sight and demanded to have on the spot. What do you think of it? I asked the assistant. Certainly very luxuriant, sir. But, are you sure you wouldn't like something a tiny bit more restrained? Why ever would I? Well, excellent workmanship though your waistcoat undoubtedly is, it nevertheless has something about it that to some people might seem a tiny bit ostentatious. The purple peacock pattern, for instance. Exactly, I gloated, turning from right to left to watch the peacocks dance. When he sees this, he'll go ballistic. Sir. I'll take it. I'll take the waistcoat. Yes, sir, the assistant sighed, resigning herself to her fate. I'll wrap it up for you with the other items. Anything else? I hesitated. There was still quite a lot of money left. Amazing how far even a niggardly salary would go if you didn't have to pay things like rent, servants' wages and groceries. Yes, I said, starting to nod. My grin became even wider. Yes, definitely. Do you sell solid chocolate? Asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk. Where did you get this? Ella demanded. She, Patsy, Flora and Eve sat squashed onto one of the benches in Green Park, gazing with longing in their eyes at the box of sweets and treats I had brought along. That's a secret, I grinned. Patsy narrowed her eyes at me. A secret like where you disappeared to the week before last. Oh, give it a rest, Patsy. Eve's elbow dug into Patsy's massive ribs. The bigger girl hardly blinked. If I get solid chocolate out of it, I don't care if she's smuggling rum across the Scottish border. Ella stared from her to me in shock. Why you aren't, are you? Rolling my eyes, I held the box of chocolates out to her. Here, take one. Hesitantly, glancing around as if she expected a policeman to spring out at her from the bushes at any moment, Ella reached out and took one of the chocolates. With unusual restraint, I waited till all of them had taken one before I picked one for myself. Sounds of appreciation were coming from all around except from Patsy. She was glowering at me, and pointed at the chocolate in her hand. This is bribery. Oh, Patsy, now really, I was just trying to do something nice. It won't make me forgive you, you know. I still want to know where you disappeared to. Friends don't disappear on each other, and if one does, that can't simply be erased by bribing with chocolate. Just try it, will you? As long as you understand that I won't forgive you. Yes, I understand. Go on, take a bite. Throwing me another suspicious glare, Patsy cautiously raised the chocolate to her mouth and took a tiny bite. Her eyes closed in ecstasy. Like it? Yes, damn you. I took a bite for myself. The flavor spread through my mouth like ambrosia and nectar combined. I smiled at her. Am I forgiven? Putting the last bit of chocolate into her mouth, she hesitated. You said this wasn't a bribe. I lied. Her eyes flew open. You little. Well, my smile widened. Am I forgiven? Do I get another one? Certainly. Invitingly, I held the box out to her. Help yourself, if, that is, you. Yes, blast you. I forgive you. My grin threatened to split my face in two. You are the world's best friend, Patsy. And you're a conniving little witch, Lillian Linton. Thank you. Now give me my chocolate. Asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk. Needless to say, when I went to the office next time, I was in a very good mood. A mood that became even better when I passed Mr. Ambrose on my way through the upper hallway, and he froze, his eyes bulging slightly at the sight of me. Stopping, I proudly posed for him to show off my new attire. Is something the matter, sir? I asked sweetly. His dark eyes, not bulging anymore, came up to meet mine. Nothing, Mr. Linton. You have only just reaffirmed my conviction that females should not be allowed to have money of their own. Oh, so you like my new waistcoat, do you? Aren't the peacocks pretty? Mr. Linton. Yes, sir. Get to work. Yes, sir. I had just stepped into my office when, with a blink, the first message shot out of the pneumatic tube, landing on my desk. Mr. Linton. Bring me file 37XVII197. Ricard Ambrose. I haven't gone anywhere, I called to him through the connecting door. I'm still here, in earshot. You could have just yelled through the door. With another plink, the next message popped out onto my desk. Mr. Linton. This is still the most efficient method of communication. Now bring me the file. Ricard Ambrose. A snort escaped me. Efficient method of communication, my foot. He just wasn't in the mood to open his mouth, that was all. But then, he had a perfect right to keep it shut, and, being my employer, he also had the perfect right to order me around to fetch files for him. So I rose to my feet and disappeared between the shelves. Once I had found the right one, I shoved it under the door to his office. Your file, see. Another plink from the direction of the desk cut me off. I hurried back to open the message. Mr. Linton. Bring me file 37XVI195. Ricard Ambrose. Blimey, he couldn't be the fast reader, could he? No, of course he couldn't. I could see his game. He wanted to chase me around again, did he? Well then, let him chase me. I didn't mind sweating for my money. Plink, plink. Message after message landed on my desk. They became faster and faster, shorter and less polite, if that was at all possible. From a shower of demanding little messages I stumbled into a rainstorm, and from that into a hailstorm. I remembered the words I had flung at him not long ago. You'll have to think of something better than that to get rid of me. And his soft will I, now. In reply, it hadn't taken me long to realize that those 3 words had been a promise. He hadn't given up on forcing me to quit, not by a long shot. But if this was his best effort, he truly would have to think of something better. Forcing me to carry files around. I had done that for him from the beginning. I could do it with my eyes closed. I could do it drunk. I could do it sleepwalking. Bring me file 38XI199. Bring me file 35IV150. Bring me file 36VII176. Thus it went on and on and on. I ran in a triangle between my desk, the shelves and Mr. Ambrose's office door, hardly daring to sit down before with another plink, a new message popped out of the pneumatic tubes. Plink. Grab message, read. Bring me file 35IV155. Jump up, run to shelves, grab file, run to door, run back to desk. Plink. Grab message, read. Bring me file 36VII174. Jump up, run to shelves, grab file, run to door, run back to desk. Plink. Grab message, read, jump you. I was already halfway to my feet when my eyes fell onto the piece of paper on my hand. I froze. I had to read it twice before the message written there in Mr. Ambrose's meticulously tidy hand reached my brain. Still, I did not comprehend it. I read it again. Slowly, the meaning of the sentence began to penetrate into my mind. Mr. Linton. Tomorrow we are leaving by ship on a lengthy trip to Africa. Be at St. Catherine's docks at 7 p.m. sharp. Mr. Ambrose. Asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk asterisk tilde asterisk tilde asterisk. I sat there for at least 5 minutes, staring at the message. I didn't have to consult my new pocket watch to know that it was at least long. I just knew it. Maybe it was even longer. 10 minutes, 30, an hour, a year. Finally, one thought managed to crystallize in my stunned mind. Africa, bloody Africa. He had to be joking. Even if this was Mr. Ambrose, he simply had to be joking. Slowly, I rose from my chair and wandered towards his office door. I was already raising my hand to knock when the realization settled in. He isn't joking. Bloody hell, he isn't joking. My hand dropped and, instead of knocking, grabbed the doorknob. One twist, and I threw the door open with all the force I could muster. I crashed against the stone wall of the office with an unhealthy-sounding crack. I held up the message. What is the meaning of this? Slowly, very slowly, Mr. Ambrose raised his gaze from the file on which it had been concentrated. His dark eyes pierced me. I was about to ask the same of you, Mr. Linton. Perhaps you are not aware of the subtleties of office etiquette, but you are supposed to knock your fingers against the door before you enter, not knock the door against the wall. I feel more like knocking your head against the wall. What is this? I brandished his message in the air, supposed to mean. Tell me. Leaning back, he regarded me coolly over long, steepled fingers. I should have thought the meaning was quite clear. We leave for Africa tomorrow. I have some business matters to attend to in Egypt and wish for you to accompany me. Egypt? What the bloody hell do you want to go to Egypt for? His gaze cooled another dozen degrees. That is none of your concern. None of my concern. You took the money. Suddenly he was on his feet and around the desk. It happened so fast I didn't even see him move. He was in front of me before I could blink, and I took an involuntary step backwards. You took the money, knowing full well what it entailed, remember. And I did remember. You'll have to do whatever I say, go wherever I command. Do you understand? Blast him. But I can't go to Egypt. I protested. I got into terrible trouble for disappearing for just a few days. How on earth am I going to explain to my aunt that I'm going to be away for several weeks? Months, probably, he corrected, with a careless flick of his fingers. Months. She would go through the roof. That is absolutely impossible. I see. Well, if you feel unable to fulfill the requirements of your position, I shall of course understand. Mr. Stone will take care of the necessary paperwork. That will be all. My breath caught. I understood well enough that I didn't want to. Necessary paperwork. I managed. What paperwork, sir? Why, for your resignation, of course. I have no intention of resigning. His dark eyes flashed. Taking 2 strides forward, he was in front of me in a moment, towering above me. Curious, you refuse to do your work, and still, you expect me to pay you. That, Mr. Linton, is not something I tolerate in my employees. Lowering to a murmur, his voice grew menacing. Either you do your duty and accompany me to Egypt, or your employment shall be terminated forthwith. It is your choice. Slowly, it dawned on me, this had been his plan all along. Burying me under a mountain of files for the day had just been a preliminary, a first stage to exhaust me and bring down my resistance. Now that I was weary from long day's work, he was launching his real attack. Egypt, bloody hell, I can't go to Egypt. And he knew that. He had found the one crack in my armor I had not been able to patch up, keeping my work secret from my family. I couldn't disappear without explanation again, not if I wanted to have a home to return to. And if I tried to tell them why I had to go. That I was planning to go on a trip to Africa, dressed up as a man, to earn a living for myself. My aunt wouldn't just throw me out of the house, she'd throw me into a loony bin. I glared at Rickard Ambrose's cool, composed, stone face, suspicion burning in my gaze. Does he have to go to Egypt at all, or is it all just a trick to get rid of me? Did it really matter? Either way, I was trapped. Taking his pocket watch out of his tailcoat, Mr. Ambrose let it snap open. 10 p.m., he announced. Apparently, it is time for you to get yourself home, Mr. Linton. Your work is over for today. Snapping it shut again, he stashed the watch away. In fact, your work here is over, period. I tried to think of something bad enough to scream at him, but I wasn't sufficiently well versed in profanity. So I just glared up at his cool, chiseled, damnably perfect features. I shall expect your resignation on my desk tomorrow, or by the latest when I return from Egypt, he told me, turning away and settling down at his desk again. Without even glancing at me, he resumed his paperwork. You may go, Mr. Linton. Goodbye. I expect we shall not see each other again. Without a word, I whirled around and marched out of his office. Well, I thought grimly to myself, we'll just see about that, when we. The Nice Ocean. He was standing near the water at St. Catherine's docks, looking out over the River Thames. The wind that was blowing grey, stormy clouds across the sky also gripped his black tailcoat and made it flutter around him like bat's wings. With his arms folded, glaring at the wide water as if he meant to conquer the river and all the oceans beyond, he looked like a darker version of Admiral Nelson, just before his triumph at Trafalgar. It almost seemed a shame to ruin such a pretty pose. Almost. I tapped him on the shoulder. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Ambrose whirled around so fast he nearly knocked me over. His dark eyes were widened. For once, I had the sublime satisfaction of seeing his mouth open with surprise. He had pretty nice teeth, incidentally. He should open his mouth more often. You. I nodded and gave my best imitation of a salute. Mr. Linton reporting for duty, sir. Packed and ready to depart. You can't be here. Actually, I can. As far as I know, my presence at this particular spot does not violate any laws of physics or any moral standards. Besides, you told me to be here, didn't you? Slowly, his mouth slid shut until his teeth were hidden again, and his lips pressed into the usual thin line. To judge from the noises he was making, those nice teeth were being gritted. Poor darlings. Yes, he informed me, keeping a tight leash on his voice. That does not mean, however, that I actually expected you to make an appearance. One of my eyebrows rose. What, you expected me to disobey you? Why ever would you think I would do something like that? More grinding noises. Dear, those poor teeth. I thought, Mr. Linton, that you mentioned there would be some slight difficulties regarding your accompanying me on this trip. Difficulties in respect to your family, if I remember correctly. Oh, you mean my aunt? I waved a dismissive hand. That was easy to take care of, once I gave it a little thought. I just told her that I would be visiting my grandmother in Northumberland to go man-hunting among the northerners. The prospect of having me more than 100 miles away combined with the possibility of my coming back with a husband or not coming back at all, soon won her over to the idea. His dark eyes sparkled, raking over me, then sweeping from left to right looking for a solution, no doubt. A way out of this. And what will your grandmother in Northumberland say when you do not arrive? Nothing. She doesn't know I'm supposed to visit her. Indeed, that should cause something of a sensation when your aunt and grandmother next communicate with each other. I smiled. Not really. They don't communicate. They can't stand each other. I see. His eyes stopped roaming and focused on me again. I can empathize with the feeling. It seems you have everything quite neatly planned. I have, haven't I? Part of me had to resist the temptation to purr and stretch like a cat. This was as close to a compliment as Richard Ambrose had ever gotten. Sahib, came a voice from behind a stack of crates and suitcases on the dock. Sahib, I think we. A massive figure stepped around the pile of luggage and froze in midstep, staring at me. I stared back. The last time I had seen Kareem, Mr. Ambrose and I had parted ways in the lair of the evil Lord Dalgleish. True, I had known he was alive, since Mr. Ambrose had said as much, but seeing him again in the flesh and in a large amount of muscle and beard was a relief. Kareem, I stepped forward, not knowing exactly why. Maybe to give the big brute a hug. So you got out of there alive, did you? Wonderful. The little black beetle eyes of the huge Mohammedan, 11, bored into me. This creature, it is still alive. Why did you not warn me that it would be coming with us, Sahib? Oh, that's right. In my joy at seeing him alive again, I had completely forgotten for a moment that Kareem and I detested each other. Excuse me, my eyes narrowed. Did you just call me, Id? I do still have a gender, even if it's not entirely clear from my clothes which one, at the moment. I didn't know he was coming, Mr. Ambrose told Kareem. Both completely ignored me. I felt the strong urge to hit him over the head with a crowbar. What a pity there weren't any crowbars handy. My apologies, Sahib. Kareem bowed to his master, and my condolences for your continued misfortune. Hello, you two, I'm standing right here. You came to tell me something, Kareem. Yes, Sahib, the ship captain sent me to tell you we can start loading the luggage aboard. Hello, can one of you hear me? I see. How long will that take? No more than 20 minutes, Sahib. Hello, stepping forward, I waved my hand in front of Mr. Ambrose's face. I'm talking to you, with the stone face and the stuffed ears. Adequate. Ignoring me, he took his pocket watch out and let it snap open. Then we should be able to depart by 7:30. He wanted to put his watch away again, but hesitated. A muscle in the side of his face twitched. Or maybe it'll take a little bit longer than that. With a cool glance at me, he added, it appears we have additional baggage to take aboard. We will be traveling with company. Bring the special suitcases out of my carriage. Baggage, I hope very much, for his sake, that he was talking about suitcases, and not about me. I glared up at him. I have my own luggage, sir, thank you very much. Not the kind you'll be needing, he told me darkly. Trust me. Turning without another word, he marched off down the dock. What do you mean? I called after him. No answer. Hey, what the heck do you? My voice broke off, and I forgot what I had been going to say. Eyes wide, jaw agape, I took in the vessel towards which Mr. Ambrose was striding. That, panting in outrage, I ran to catch up with him. That's what we're supposed to be traveling on. Indeed it is, Mr. Linton. Are you mad? I suffer from no mental malady, Mr. Linton. Well, if he thought the thing in front of us was going to make it through the Strait of Gibraltar, 12, and the entire Mediterranean all the way to Egypt, I wasn't so sure about that. The ship, if you could call it that, was large and sleek, granted, but it had ridiculously few masts. We would hardly be able to sail out of the harbour with those. In addition, the entire hull was a gleaming blackish gray. I was no expert in nautical matters, but to me it looked as if the wood was covered with mould and rotting away. It'll break apart as soon as we leave the harbour, I protested, if we ever get that far. Hardly. Marching up the gangway, Mr. Ambrose stretched out an arm and knocked against the side of the ship. Instead of the wet thud I had expected, there came a hard, hollow clank that spoke of anything but rot. Iron. I stared at the vessel. The whole ship is coated in iron. Not coated in iron, built from iron, every last part of the hull. In God's name, why? I laughed. Are you expecting to sail into a war zone? Yes. And with that, he left me standing and strode aboard. You might have mentioned that before baiting me into coming along. I informed the empty air where he had been, then grabbed my suitcases and marched up the gangway. Not one of the sailors on deck jumped forward to help me carry them. One disadvantage of wearing trousers. It's not a disadvantage. You're a feminist. You're supposed to love to carry your own luggage, and laugh haughtily at men who dare to offer to carry it for you. All true, but that didn't change the fact that those suitcases really were bloody heavy. Halfway up the gangway, I stopped and sat him down for a breather. My eyes fell for the first time on the name engraved on the prow of the ship. Mammon. The demon of greed. One corner of my mouth twitched. How quaint. Richard Ambrose was standing at the railing, staring at the water again as if he had a personal grudge against it for being so wet. I marched up to him and prodded him in the ribs. Where is my cabin? He threw me a cool look. I sighed. Where is my cabin, sir? If I have one, that is, if he doesn't expect me to sleep in the sailor's quarters. He jutted his thumb towards the door leading down into the belly of the ship. Third door on the left. He really had a place for me. I was slightly taken aback, so instead of just going, I, like the dunderhead I am, asked the first question that popped into my mind. If you didn't think I was coming, why do you have a cabin for me? I make it a point to always be prepared for the worst. Gah, was it legal to try to strangle a man on a ship? After all, I wasn't technically on British soil anymore, so the Crown could hardly arrest me for murder. The ship's captain, on the other hand, could, and probably would if I assassinated his employer. Besides, if I killed him, how would I get enough money to buy more solid chocolate? Turning demonstratively to give him a good look at my new peacock waistcoat, I tightened my grip on my cases and marched off towards the ship's superstructure. 13. Inside, I found my cabin without difficulty, and was actually surprised at how exorbitantly luxuriant it was for Mr. Ambrose's standards. True, the space was minuscule, there was no furniture to speak of, and to fit into the bunk I had to bend myself like a banana, but there weren't any holes in the floor, and the walls looked freshly painted. I suppose even a man of Mr. Ambrose's frugality realized that shoddy workmanship could lead to a watery grave at sea. And we wouldn't want him to die like that, now, would we? I muttered, ripping open my first suitcase and starting to throw my clothes over the hooks on the wall. Oh no, that would mean we can strangle him ourselves. A knock sounded from the door. What? I snapped. May I come in? That depends. Who are you, and what the hell do you want? My name is Coles, sir. Charlie Coles, seaman apprentice aboard the Mammon. I'm bringing your suitcases, sir. I've already got them.